Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching me from. My name is Dr. Obioramba Iboweze, reaching you from Nkolo Mahadum. Remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we package lectures and present it to you from Biafran and African perspectives. Today's date is Eke Market Day in the 6th month of the lunar calendar, Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa Ifejioku. And today's date in the foreign Roman Catholic calendar is July 25th, 2024. And remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we advise you to reason with your God-given common sense, the common sense you were given, that you came into this world with, which in Igbo we call it akonuche. Reason with your akonuche. Thank you for joining me today. And the title of today's lecture is Any Protest That Does Not Achieve Referendum for Nigeria is a waste of lives, time, money, and property. Because demonstration, protests, and demonstration are part of the Western imposed democracy that we are practicing in Africa and in Nigeria. And protests are means by which the public, the masses, convey their feelings to their government so that the government can make the necessary changes to benefit the people. That is what it is originally intended for in a democracy. But the way the world is constituted right now, the way they created all this country right now and impose people, on the countries, in most cases, even the leaders do not listen to the protesters. And before we continue, we have to ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, like our program, comment, share it, share to your friends and well-wishers. And so you all know that France is one of the biggest colonial masters after Britain. Britain is number one, France is the second. France also, people of France have been having more protests than any other country. If you are following the turn of events, you can see that the people of France, they always protest and protest and protest. But here the government doesn't do anything. The only thing is that their electioneering system, their electoral system is working. That was why during the last election, the New Popular Front, a left-wing party, won more seats in parliament than even the party of the current President Macron. So they used their election to make the changes, which is not the case in Nigeria or any other part of Africa. In the elections are rigged in Nigeria, and you cannot make change. You can tell by the last one where the people voted for Peter Obi. Peter Obi won, but the powers that be changed it and imposed the current Tinubu on Nigerians. And so demonstration, protest is a good thing in a democracy if the government will be listening to the people. And we want to tell you, we want to tell you why we think that the current protests being planned in Nigeria will not succeed. It will not succeed. Why it will not succeed? It will not achieve the result intended for it to achieve. Number one is that the protesters provided a date. You shouldn't provide a date. I mean, a protest that will change Nigeria, that will change any country, will stand spontaneously. It will start instantly from just a little thing. And that is where you have common value system. If you don't have common value system, a wrong done to somebody in Sokoto or in Ibadan or in the East maybe will be seen differently by others. And so by putting a date, you are also making the Nigerian security force to be ready too. So you shouldn't have put a date. And putting a date is one of the reasons why the protests being planned in Nigeria will not work. It will not achieve their intended purpose. Plus, what are you looking for? If it's not referendum, what else are you looking for? So putting a date is a big problem in that protest being planned in Nigeria. Second problem is tribalism. Tribalism. That is the problem, the major problem we have in Nigeria. Because when it's happening, say in Lagos, the Yorubas will say it's an Igbo, or it's an Ijo, or it's a TV man. If it's happening in Sokoto, the same thing. So tribalism is a major card that the government will use to destabilize the protests. Another issue, another reason why the protests will not succeed is different value system. What somebody from the North wanted is not what somebody from the West wanted. It's not what somebody from the East wanted, or somebody from the Middle Belt. So there are different value systems, in Nigeria. And so no protest will survive, except if it's intended for referendum. Another reason the protest will not survive in Nigeria today is corruption, because everybody is corrupt. The leaders of the protest, remember in the NSAS, they don't have leaders. That was why it survived for that few period, for that 2 weeks. And so it shows that you have leaders. Those leaders of the protesters are corrupt. So corruption will make them to accept money and betray the cause. Another reason why the protest will not work is hunger. There is hunger in the land. People are hungry. So how will you sustain it? Who will give you the food? And so hunger is another reason why the protest being planned in Nigeria will not work. Another reason is inability to sustain the protest for a very long time. How long did NSAS protest? Only for 2 weeks. How long did Nigerian Labour Congress protest? Only for 1 day. So for you to have a good result from protests, you have to sustain it for a very long time, for months and years. And Nigerians will not have the lever to sustain a long process. And before we continue, we have to beg you please to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Like our program. Share it. Share to everybody. Because the information we are passing here is what you need to know. What will result from the current protests? What will be the results? What do you expect to happen? If you are not expecting referendum, if you are not protesting to get referendum, what else are you asking for? The only result you will get from this protest is killings. You know that Nigerian security forces uses live bullets on protesters. This is not the first time. They have used it on the Islamic movement of Nigeria, led by Zakzaki. They used it on them in 2015, 2018, and even 2021. They used live bullets on protesters. They also used live bullets on IPOB. When IPOB was protesting, they used live bullet on them. They also used live bullets on NSAS protesters. Where you see Nigerian security forces shooting their citizens with live bullets like animals, it happens every time, and they get away with it, and nothing happens afterwards. So a lot of killings, senseless killings, will occur during this upcoming protest. Secondly, there will be destruction of properties. A lot of properties of innocent people and the government will be destroyed. So why destroying these things when you are not going to get referendum? Because referendum is the only thing to save Nigeria. You destroy the properties of people, people suffered, and then the government, the one built with public money. So after destroying all those things and you didn't get referendum, what is this for? The third thing that you will see in this protest is arrests. There will be mass arrests for a lot of people. A lot of people will be incarcerated by the Nigerian security forces. The fourth thing you will see is more division amongst the protest leaders. Because at the end of the day, the Nigerian government and their security will hunt down the protesters, and they will surrender. Nigerian protesters don't have the lever. They always surrender to the government and the security forces. And so that is what will happen. And the fifth thing that will happen after and during and after the protest, you will see a lot of millionaires. A lot of millionaires from the protest leaders. Many of the protest leaders will take money from the government and individuals and companies to lay down their protests, to surrender their protests. That is what you will see. That is what will result during and after this coming protest. Therefore, Nkola Mahadum is advising the protesters, if you are not protesting for referendum, if you are not ready for referendum, so that the National Assembly will come into emergency session. Now they have taken about 2 or 3 months leave to come back immediately, emergency session, to pass a bill for referendum. If you are not doing that, then this upcoming protest is just complete waste of time, lives, money, and property. That is what Nkola Mahadum wants you to know. Before we continue, please, I have to beg you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, like our program, comments so that we know how you're feeling. And finally, because when I bring it to short, at this university, so to bring it short, to bring it down, what you have to take away from today's lecture, from today's presentation, is that the protest being planned in Nigeria, if it's not calling or meant to achieve referendum for Nigeria, it's just a waste of time. Because even though demonstration protest is good for democracy, many governments don't listen to their people. Even in France, they have had a lot of protests. You don't see changes, except that during the election is still working, unlike Nigeria, where the election is not working. And you know why the protests will not work? They provided dates, tribalism, different value system, hunger, inability to sustain it for a long time. And the NSAS experience, all the lists, all those things that the NSAS protesters listed during their time, how many of them was done by the government? None of them. I can't remember any that was done. Plus, the public inquiry conducted by Lagos State to investigate what happened during that NSAS was a public disgrace. What did they come out of it? Nothing. Nothing. And so the coming protests will not work if it's not going to be for referendum. And what will result will be killings, because Nigerian security forces uses live bullets on their people, on the protesters, destruction of properties, arrests, more divisions, and millionaires from the protest leaders. This is what Nkola Mahadum wants you to know. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. But before we do, we must beg you to please support Eastern Security Network. This is the only security outfit that are stationed in the bushes to drive away the Fulani herdsmen terrorists from our farmlands, bushes, and forests, because that is where they stay to plan attacks, to kidnap, kill, maim, take our lands and resources from our people. And when we drive them out, our people can now go into the farms and bushes to farm and bring out a lot of food for our people. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Obiora Mba. Thank you and have a good one.